Hello dear students, this is Vishal sir from Ikra High School. Today we are going to continue chapter 1st of standard 10th subject science. Our today's topic begins with types of chemical reactions. Now as you have gone through in the earlier video about the reactions and the equations of chemicals, today we are going to understand more how reactions conduct itself. To understand better, we have categorized the chemical reactions in 5 major parts. The first chemical reaction that we are going to study is combination reaction. Let's take a quick look at the activity 1.4. Take a small amount of calcium oxide or a quicklime in a beaker. Slowly add water to this. Touch the beaker as shown in figure 1.3. Do you feel any change in the temperature? Now here you can see that a little amount of calcium oxide is taken into beaker and water is added to it. Now as soon as the water reacts with quicklime, it forms slaked lime, and even the temperature of the flask increases. The conclusion given over here is calcium oxide reacts vigorously with water to produce slaked lime, releasing a large amount of heat. Now if you go through the equation properly, you can see there are two reactants which combine together and form one product, that is slaked lime. Here heat is released, that means energy is released. But our main intention to look at the equation was the number of product that formed by the reaction of two reactants. In this reaction, calcium oxide and water combine to form a single product, calcium hydroxide. Such a reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactant is known as combination reaction. Let's go through some more examples. Let's study the burning of coal. When coal, that is carbon, is burned, that means reacted with oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide gas. Here also you can see clearly that when two reactants react with each other, they form a single compound. The formation of water from hydrogen and oxygen is also one such example, where hydrogen combines with oxygen and forms a single molecule of water. So in simple language, we can say that when two or more substances or elements or compounds combine to form a single product, the reactions are called combination reaction. That means combining a reaction. In activity 1.4, we also observed that a large amount of heat was involved. This makes the reaction warm. Now, such reactions in which heat, or you can say energy, is liberated or released along with the formation of product are called exothermic chemical reactions also. Other examples of exothermic chemical reactions are burning of natural gas, where methane is burnt, that means it combines with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. So this is also one of the example of exothermic reaction. There is still one more example of an exothermic reaction, the reaction of respiration. We all know that we need energy to stay alive. We get this energy from the food we eat. During digestion, food is broken down into simpler substances. For example, rice, potato, bread contain carbohydrate. These carbohydrates are broken down to form glucose. This glucose combines with oxygen in the cell of our body and provides energy. The special name of this reaction is respiration. So here you can see the glucose, that is the energy that we consume while eating or while digesting the food, combines with oxygen, and the byproducts are carbon dioxide, water, and the energy that we feel. So this is also an example of exothermic reaction. The decomposition of vegetable matter into compost is also an example of exothermic reaction. So these were the examples of exothermic reaction in which the energy may be in any form. It may be in light also, it may be in heat also. So whenever you obtain energy during any chemical reaction, we can say that the reaction is an exothermic reaction. Let's study one more reaction, decomposition reaction. Let's go through activity 1.5. Take about 2 grams of ferrous sulfate crystals in a dry boiling tube. Note the color of the ferrous sulfate crystals. Heat the boiling tube over a flame of the burner or a spirit lamp as shown in figure 1.4. Observe the color of the crystals after heating. Here in this activity, there was a reaction between the ferrous sulfate, but it was heated. Now here in this reaction, the heat is given. We are not obtaining heat, but heat is given to conduct the reaction. What happens or what observations do we go through when we heat ferrous sulfate crystals in a dry boiling tube? We notice that the green color of the ferrous sulfate crystal has changed. We can also smell the characteristic odor of burning sulfur. Now, if you can go through the equation written over here, you can see that ferrous sulfate, when heated, gives ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide, and sulfur trioxide. So, from one compound, we obtained 3 different compounds on reaction or on heating that compound. In this reaction, you can observe that a single reactant breaks down to give simpler products. This is decomposition reaction. So whenever a single compound breaks down into 2 or more substances or compounds, we can say that the reaction occurred is a decomposition reaction. Ferrous sulfate crystals lose water when heated and color of the crystal changes. It then decomposes to ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide, and sulfur trioxide. Ferric oxide is a solid, while sulfur dioxide and trioxide are gases. There is one more reaction that goes through decomposition reaction. It is a reaction of calcium carbonate. When calcium carbonate is heated, we obtain calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So decomposition of calcium carbonate to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide on heating is an important decomposition reaction used in various industries. Calcium oxide is called lime or quicklime. It has many uses. One is in manufacturing of cement. While decomposition reaction is carried out by heating, it is called thermal decomposition reaction. Now here also we have one example of thermal decomposition reaction in which you have to provide heat to conduct the reaction. In activity 1.6, 2 gram lead nitrate powder is taken in a boiling tube and the boiling tube is held with a pair of tongs and it is heated over a flame. The observation that we would observe while conducting the activity would be the emission of brown fumes. These fumes are actually the fumes of nitrogen dioxide. And the reaction that it took place would be something like this. When lead nitrate was heated, we obtained lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen gas. So a single compound breaks down into 2 or more different compounds or elements. And that is what we call decomposition reaction. Because we provided heat to conduct the reaction, it is called thermal decomposition reaction. Now let's go through activity 1.7. Here you can see in a tumbler some amount of water is taken where the tumbler is attached with a special apparatus. 2 carbon rods are attached and one battery is attached to that carbon rod. 2 test tubes are inverted over the carbon rod. When electricity is passed through the carbon rod, there happens a reaction in which you get two different products. Let's first read the activity and understand it better. Take a plastic mug, drill two holes at its base and fit rubber stoppers in these holes. Insert carbon electrodes in these rubber stoppers as shown in figure 1.6. Connect these electrodes to a 6-volt battery. Fill the mug with water such that the electrodes are immersed. Add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to the water. Take two test tubes filled with water and invert them over two carbon electrodes. Switch on the current and leave the apparatus undisturbed for some time. You will observe that the formation of bubbles at both the electrodes. These bubbles displace water in the test tubes. So in each test tube you will see or you will observe bubbles forming in the test tubes. Now these bubbles fill the test tube in some uneven proportion. Is the volume of the gas collected the same in both the test tube? Once the test tubes are filled with the respective gases, remove them carefully. Test this gas one by one by bringing a burning candle close to the mouth of the test tubes. So here students, in one test tube, oxygen will be collected, in other, hydrogen will be collected. If you observe carefully, oxygen would be connected at the positive rod and hydrogen would be collected at the negative rod. As you can go through the diagram, you can see the graphite rod is immersed on the anode side, collects oxygen, while the rod connected at cathode side collects hydrogen. So here you can see the electrolysis of water. That means when water is formed from hydrogen and oxygen, the only way to separate water into these two elements is electrolysis. So this is one of the important topic that you have to understand properly in this chapter. In activity 1.8, the experiment is done with silver chloride which is left over in a china dish. We have to observe the color and place the china dish in sunlight. After keeping it in sunlight for some time, we have to again observe the color of the silver chloride. You will see that the white color silver chloride turns gray in sunlight, and this is due to the decomposition of silver chloride into silver and chlorine. The reaction given over here is silver chloride. When kept in sunlight, it decomposes to silver and chlorine gas. The above reactions are used in black and white photography. What form of energy is causing this decomposition reaction? We have seen that the decomposition reaction requires energy either in the form of heat, light or electricity for breaking down the reactant. So this type of reactions are called endothermic reactions. Means the reaction in which you have to provide energy are called endothermic, and the reaction in which you obtain energy while doing the reactions are called exothermic reactions.